Tonight is not ordinary. The air around you is charged because last night the hidden pages were opened and what was written there can no longer be ignored. Archangel Michael stood in the throne room like a sentinel with blazing intent, and the courts of heaven leaned forward because a line in the sacred scroll was turned, a line that carries your name. Listen with more than your ears. Listen with the part of you that knows what time it is in the spirit. While you slept, a council convened not of men, but of forces that govern destiny. The wakefulness of heaven attended to your file. Words were spoken that sought to bind you, and other words rose like fire to set you free. The angels who fought for you still tremble from the strain of the clash, not because victory was uncertain, but because the outcome required your recognition. What happened last night did not happen outside your life, it happened inside the courtroom where your tomorrow is decided. A sentence was pronounced. A sentence of undoing. A sentence of opening. A sentence sealed with a new name written across your spirit. Yet the astonishment of the angels is that you rise as if nothing shifted. They expected you to wake with the knowledge that something has moved on your behalf. Hear this plainly: heaven does not move without purpose. When Archangel Michael is roused to stand, it is because an enemy line was broken or a blessing required escort. The clash you did not see was loud in the unseen. Words that were meant to steal, delay, and diminish you were intercepted and rendered void. At the same time, pieces of destiny, promises that had been delayed, were retrieved from the storehouses of possibility and wrapped in light to be given to you. This collision of loss and gain happened in one holy night, and it is why the angels are astonished. Do not reduce this to poetic phrasing. This is real. The enemy moved with cunning, a whisper passed through shadowed lips seeking to alter your path. They counted you as easily led, they thought your sleep would be your undoing. But heaven counted otherwise. A response was issued. A counterword declared. An overturning was recorded. Yet your posture today betrays a slow heart. You scroll, you linger in distractions, you say, "I'll get to it later." That later is the enemy's friend. This message is urgent because what was set in motion requires a human acknowledgement, your alignment. Heaven will do what heaven does, but heaven works in holy tandem with your obedience. The gift cannot be fully received while your hands are folded in neglect. Archangel Michael's voice in the spirit carries weight: do not treat this as an ordinary morning. He saw a strategy formed against you, subtle, smiling faces, friendly hands bearing the slow poison of delay. He also watched an angel march into the rooms of blessing and take hold of what was reserved. The shock is that you, the one named, still wonder why your days feel unchanged. There are three realities you must hold fast to right now. First, a blockage meant for your life was closed. An avenue of harm that would have touched your heart, your home, your finances, or your reputation was barricaded. The enemy built a door, a trap disguised as opportunity, and last night that door was shut. They will not know it until they try again. They will continue to smile in your presence, unaware that heaven has already locked the mechanism. Second, a door for you was opened. It may be a door to restoration, a door to revelation, a door to reconciliation, or a door to release. This opening requires your step. You cannot benefit from a doorway you refuse to pass through. The angels expected you to move because heaven moves to create a corridor of favor and expects you to walk into it. The gap between your present place and your promise is not a philosophy, it is a simple act of walking. Third, the instrument of your breakthrough has a voice. It will call. It might come as a person revealing truth, a sudden permission, a cleared record, an unexpected check, or a knock at an unlikely hour. The voice may be tender or abrupt, but it will carry urgency. Do not silence it with doubt or delay it with skepticism. The heavenly courts have stamped this hour, your response completes the decree. Understand the nature of delay, it is not neutral. Delay gives the enemy time to regroup, delay allows what was broken to be refastened. When heaven moves, time is compressed, a window becomes narrow. The mercy of God orchestrates seasons, but mercy also respects human freedom. You were given a spirit, and with that spirit you are asked to choose. To choose now means you claim what was already written. To choose later risks opening space for the adversary to attempt again. Archangel Michael's sorrowful whisper is this: how long will they numb themselves to the urgency of what is happening for them? He and the angelic host stood in the courts breathing battle smoke, having seen destinies shift. Their shock is not because heaven acts, their shock is because you do not yet know. You will soon sense three stirrings in your spirit: conviction, clarity, and courage. Conviction will press into your will that settled knowledge that you must act. Clarity will remove the fog, names, faces, places will become precise. Courage will give your feet momentum. When those stirrings come, obey them without debate. They are not cruel urgings but the echo of heaven's command: arise and walk into what is yours. Remember this, not every sign is dramatic. Some signs come as a quiet alignment, a conversation that suddenly takes the right turn, a roadblock that disappears, an appointment that arrives at just the right time. God will use both thunder and subtlety. Be awake to both. But be warned, the enemy will attempt to counterfeit revelation. They will entice you with lesser imitations, quick thrills that are hollow. The difference between a counterfeit and a covenant is that a covenant endures. The proclamation of last night is covenantal. It is not a fleeting surge of feeling, it is a rewriting of your file. Anchor your heart in the truth that what was sealed is secure, but it must be acknowledged. Archangel Michael says to you now, break from the cycle of inattention. Stop swiping past the very thing heaven has placed before you. Do not be ashamed if you have been careless. Confession loosens what is bound. Speak to God honestly: Lord, open my eyes. Let me see what heaven has done. Cry out for the revelation to land inside you. This is not a message to make you anxious. It is a summons to awaken. Anxiety is a thief, attention is a steward. Put your attention where heaven has placed the key. The angels cannot force your hand, they can only contend until you decide. Decide now. Your life was preserved for the season. The script was not abandoned, it was revised in your favor. But a revision requires acceptance. The enemy's plot was overruled, yet victory must be embraced. There is a small, sacred step you must take: a yes spoken aloud, a forgiveness offered, a truth confronted, an obedience given. It may feel like little to you, but in the realm of destiny it is monumental. Tonight's battle was decisive. The scribes in heaven closed a chapter that would have trapped you and opened a chapter that will restore you. The angels are astonished not because they did the impossible, they always fight for the righteous, but because you still walk as if nothing at all has changed. If you listen now, you will find the thread. If you act now, you will begin to see the fruit. Do not allow this hour to pass and become just another sermon you read. Make it the hinge of your redemption. Archangel Michael declares, this is the moment of recall. Return to the purpose for which you were made. The noise of the world will not win if you refuse it entrance. Open the scroll of your life with an expectant heart. What was written last night is for you. Receive it. The sound you have been missing is not always loud. Sometimes it is a small knock at the right door in the precise minute when your hands are full and your mind is elsewhere. That knock is heaven's invitation. It came last night in the hush of conflict, it is waiting to be recognized now. Do not let habit blur the urgency of the present moment. Archangel Michael stood like a guardian at the threshold of your days, and in that posture he both defended and beckoned. The angels reported back the enemy's designs, names were uttered in dark rooms, bargains were brokered in hushed tones, hopes were targeted as if easy prey. Heaven intervened. A counterword was formed and a new covenant was signed. But covenants require acceptance. The willing heart completes the transaction. You might wonder, how will I know God will make it unmistakable? A conversation will arrive that flips the script, a document will appear with the right terms. A person will come bearing truth. Or you will catch sight of a situation that clarifies everything at once. The sign will fit your story like a key fits a lock. When it comes, do not intellectualize, receive. There is a prophetic economy at work. When heaven gives, it often gives in forms you would not expect. Blessings can come disguised as corrections, protection may arrive in the form of sudden rejection, a closed friendship can be the very action that preserves your calling. Be aware that what looks like loss can be a merciful shield. The throne room verdict may not always arrive wrapped how you wanted, but it always arrives with purpose. Archangel Michael's urgency is burning because he knows the pattern of hesitation. The enemy knows how to speak slowly, a half-truth here, a flattering promise there, and it steals time. He knows that if he can keep you entangled in maybe later, he can re-enter. That is why the present moment is sacred. Move now. A practical pathway is given. First, identify the door that opened. You can start by asking, where have I seen sudden favor, an unexpected clearing, or a shift in timing? Second, listen for the one phrase that repeats itself in your spirit, it will be the hallmark of your next step. Third, act on the smallest clear instruction. Spiritual momentum is built on small faith steps that honor the larger mandate. There will be resistance, this is guaranteed. Not from heaven, but from the residue of yesterday that still lingers around you. Familiar patterns will tug. Old voices will attempt to persuade you that it is risky or premature. To overcome that resistance, name it aloud. Naming brings clarity. Speak to that old voice, you are not ruling me anymore. Then move. Do not mistake humility for passivity. To be humble is to be teachable, not immobile. Heaven calls you to move with humility and boldness simultaneously. When the angels see your feet moving toward the opened door, they lean in. Your step is the signal that converts heaven's declaration into earth's reality. You may ask, what if I fail to step through? Failure to respond does not mean the end of God's mercy, but it does mean the forfeiture of the immediacy of the blessing. The enemy will try again, and each attempt costs you time. The script of your life can be redirected, but it cannot be fully realized in the absence of your cooperation. God's generosity desires your partnership. If you are honest, you will admit there is an area where you have felt the squeeze: finances, relationship, health, reputation, a career fork. Last night's movement touched those specific places. The angels have stood in the breach not to leave you dependent on their fight, but to restore you to your authority. Reclaim your voice. Speak the declaration of freedom over the area that feels bound. A ritual of response is helpful and not superstitious. Take a moment today, close your eyes if you must, and say, Heaven, I receive what was written last night. I step into the door you opened. Let your heart be the witness. Then take one action that corresponds: send the email you've postponed, forgive the person you've resented, accept the help that seems risky, or sign the forms that have sat idle. The celestial court respects the human act of obedience. Archangel Michael leans in and says, do not conflate fear with wisdom. Fear often sounds like prudence but moves like paralysis. Wisdom will give you concrete directions and then empower you. When wisdom instructs, move. When fear stalls, name it and move anyway. You are surrounded by witnesses. The angels are not distant observers, they are active participants. Their shock was never at the fairness of heaven's act, but at your continued unawareness. They desire to see you prosper, and they await your recognition. Imagine armies exhaling when you finally align your will with heaven's will. Your obedience is the drumbeat that makes the victory visible. Do not wait for fanfare. The transforming moments of destiny seldom begin with loud trumpets for the human eye. They begin with quiet alignments that compound. Today's small obedience could become tomorrow's harvest. Take this seriously. What you do in the next hours will intensify or dissolve the miracle already scheduled. There is also a protective dimension to your recognition. When you acknowledge heaven's movement, you put a guardian around the blessing. The enemy loses foothold when you speak truth into the air. Speak words that declare the new season. I receive the overturning. I walk into the open door. I reject the plans of delay or harm. Words are not magic, they are covenant markers. Use them. If you feel alone in this moment, remember, you are not. There is a communion watching with reverence. Ancestors, unseen friends, the angelic host, they celebrate the turn. Your liberation is celebrated from heights you cannot yet measure. Let that knowledge steady you. Now, practical clarity. Make a short list of 3 things that must change to enter fully into what was given last night. Keep it realistic. Pick one and do it within the next waking hour. Action shrinks the distance between heaven's decree and your experience. Lastly, do not allow guilt to cloud your step. If you have been asleep to this call, the remedy is not condemnation but alignment. God is the perfect corrector. He calls you back gently and persistently. Respond to the call with a heart hungry for repair. Archangel Michael says, I stood at the gate and fought until your name was rewritten. Do not treat my fight as a backdrop. The battle that took place on your behalf was fierce because your freedom matters. The angels are astonished because they expected you to know and to move. Let that astonishment become the very fuel that drives you into obedience. The hour is now. The scroll turned last night, the ink is still fresh. The knock you missed is waiting for your hand. Do not let the plot of the enemy reroute what heaven has rerouted in your favor. Rise. Walk, receive. This is your covenant hour. This is your last chance in this cycle to open to the truth that was revealed. Heaven has acted. Now act back.